everybody, Wannabe Reviewer here, and welcome back to the Wannabe Podcast, episode 21. Before we begin this week's podcast, I just want to proudly announce that not only is the Wannabe Podcast caught up and available on platforms such as YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Google Play Music, but after, a free request for it, the Wannabe Podcast, as of this week, is now also available on iTunes. So I don't know if you guys like to, check out music, podcasts, that sort of thing on there, but if you guys want to subscribe over on iTunes, that is an option now. So yeah, I don't know. So like I said, some people requested it, so I proudly, responded. So there you go. With that being said, I think this podcast might honestly be one of the shorter ones when it comes to stuff that I really did this week. Didn't do very much, as you guys will see in a moment, because I've just been really swamped with work for like the last week or two. So, like I said, this might be one of the shorter podcasts, but we'll see. Maybe during the news section that might, take up some time, but just throwing that out there right now. So, with that being said, I guess I should dive into my week. And when it comes to manga, as I said last week, don't think I'll really be able to really dive into any reading material until like the end of the month. So for now, didn't have a chance to really sit down and read any manga, so I have nothing new to report. So sorry to disappoint for anyone who likes to, hear about new manga, but at the moment, nothing to report on. So, when it comes to anime, I watched a bit of anime. I was able to catch up. Yesterday, I was able to catch up and watch the newest episodes of each of the anime I'm following. However, it's all anime that I've talked about in the past, and I don't really know if it's worth mentioning. However, I know that a lot of shows are like past the halfway point at this point. Even that time I got reincarnated as a slime, which is supposed to run for like 25 episodes. That only has like 4 or 5 episodes left. So hopefully, in the near future, like by the end of next month or something, I'll be talking about all these anime, as a whole and what I thought about the whole series in general. So look forward to that. When it comes to movies and TV shows, didn't have the time to watch anything, unfortunately, so nothing to report there. And even with games, I didn't really necessarily play anything, so to speak. I did kind of check out some stuff, which I guess I'll talk about just really briefly. After last week's Nintendo Direct or whatever, I saw there was some demos for Yoshi's Crafted World and Daemon, I think that's how you say it, Daemon X Machina. So I checked out the demos for those. When it comes to Yoshi's Crafted World, a little demo, I don't know. If you've played one game, I feel like you've kind of played them all. Not anything against the game. I think it still has really great visuals, and I think it's very creative with how it works with the different like arts and crafts, aesthetic. But I just feel like it's really similar to other Yoshi games. Like if you've played a Yoshi game, it's the same thing. You run around, you swallow enemies to make them into eggs. You can collect eggs from like little boxes. You use the eggs to attack things, and you platform, that sort of thing. Like I said, not to make it sound like the game is like bad or anything, but I just feel like there's not really anything new to report. I think it's just like, oh, okay, it's a Yoshi game again, I would still recommend checking out the demo. It is a lot of fun, but I don't know. There wasn't anything that blew me away, I guess. When it comes to Daemon X Machina, had a lot of fun with it. Basically, for anyone who doesn't know, it's a game where you're like a mech pilot and you're flying around, doing all sorts of missions and shooting things down and all sorts of stuff. And I liked it. I think that the gameplay was really good. I thought that the little bit of like story and interactions we get were really fun. And I don't know, it has potential to be like a cool new IP. So same thing. If you've ever really played anything where you're like a mech and stuff, it's very similar. But at least Nintendo's trying to like put some new stuff out there. So I liked it. I thought it was cool. And I do really want to play it when it comes out. So had a good time with it. Would recommend, downloading the demo, giving it a try for yourself. So with that being said, that's basically all I did for my week. Like I said, didn't really have a chance to do much. So apart from those 2 demos and watching anime, that's basically all I really did. So guess we'll transfer over to the news. Speaking of which, the first news story that I want to talk about it's pretty tragic, guys. I don't even know really where to start with this story. It's just really sad. And I know when I saw the news story, it kind of made me tear up a little bit. It's just so depressing. It was just something I was looking forward to so much. And so, basically what I'm trying to say, everybody, if you need to, take a moment to sit down because this is a bit shocking, but apparently Untitled Goose Game has been delayed till later in 2019. Which, like I said, everybody, calm down. But I'm sorry. I don't know why I decided to tackle it like that. But no, seriously though, yeah. There's not really too much information. Basically, the article just says that Untitled Goose Game, which I don't know if anybody has seen footage from it yet. Basically, it's this little game where you play as a goose and you travel around annoying people and doing all sorts of little missions, disrupting the town. And basically, it's an indie game that was announced for early 2019 on PC and Switch. And I mean, we don't really get any reason why. I think maybe it's just to polish the game up. But unfortunately, yeah, the game was delayed until later this year. So, I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully, they're taking the time to make it better. But yeah, for anyone who was looking forward to Untitled Goose Game, unfortunately, you will have to wait a little bit longer. So, in all seriousness, though, this next news story is a bit more actually tragic, not totally tragic, but it is a little bit more actually sad. And that's a news story that just hit, I want to say yesterday. And apparently Nintendo of America's president, Reggie Fils-Aime, I think that's how you say his last name, he's retiring. And Doug Bowser has been named the new Nintendo of America president. Now, I mean, where to start? First of all, it sucks that Reggie's gonna retire. I mean, Reggie, he's always seemed like a really cool guy. I mean, he's always been a meme, I mean, he always does all sorts of crazy stuff, and he seems really down to earth and really fun, his interactions with fans and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm reading the article here. After 15 years at Nintendo and nearly 13 years in his current role, on April 15th, he's going to be retiring. And luckily, it's not a health thing or anything. As he says here, he's leaving in good health and good humor, all that stuff. But it seems like he just wants to step down, because he wants to spend more time with his wife, his family, friends, that sort of thing. So luckily, he's not stepping down because anything bad happened. But it seems like he's just stepping down because, he wants to retire. He wants to relax and stuff. So that's one part of the story, and obviously that's really sad. As I said, Reggie's always been a really fun guy during conferences and Nintendo Directs and stuff, and he's a meme, and he just seems really fun and down to earth. So he'll be missed. I know a lot of people on Twitter and all over YouTube are putting up videos and pictures saying they're gonna miss him, so he's gonna be missed. But the other part of the story that almost sounds like a joke, it sounds like a gimmick, is that, yeah, a guy named Doug Bowser is going to be the new president. I mean, I didn't even know Bowser was the last name. I don't know where this guy came from. I don't remember ever hearing about him before. But yeah, a guy named Bowser is going to be the new Nintendo president. That sounds like a joke. It sounds like it was planned out. Because why, of all people, someone named Bowser? I don't know. But there you have it, At least, Reggie was a huge meme, and this new guy, I mean, he hasn't even started yet, and he's already a meme too, because people just can't believe that Bowser is going to be the president of Nintendo. And they're already making all sorts of jokes and memes and posting all sorts of pictures and stuff, so, I mean, there you go. At least, hopefully, the guy they pick, hopefully he does a good job, hopefully he brings us stuff that maybe, Reggie failed to. And I don't know, hopefully he's a good sport about it, and hopefully he's also a fun, memeable guy. So I don't know, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But as for Reggie, hopefully he enjoys his time off and hopefully he relaxes, he's done a pretty good job. So moving on, this next news story is all about how apparently Hollow Knight Silksong is in development. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Hollow Knight is a game that it started life, I want to say, on Kickstarter. I don't know if it was Kickstarter or Indiegogo. I want to say it was Kickstarter, and I have not had a chance to play the game, which is part of why I'm kind of upset about this. But I've heard that it's really good. I've heard that it's one of the best in the Metroidvania genre. I know a lot of people love the game. A lot of people were calling it, one of the best of the year. It was on their top 10 lists. And I know it's the kind of game that, despite being an indie game, apparently has a lot of content, And so I'm kind of disappointed because, yeah, Hollow Knight Silksong is apparently going to be a sequel that's in development. According to the article, apparently it was supposed to start off as a DLC thing, but the creators of the game realized that it was just so big and had so much going on that instead of a DLC, they just decided to make it its own game. So for anyone who's played the game, there's a character in Hollow Knight called Hornet, and I think she's like a little princess bug thing, and she runs around with like a little sewing needle. Like that's her weapon, and she's gonna be the protagonist. So wow, I mean, for the guys making this game, they're killing it, you know? Like they could have just stopped at the one game and maybe taken a rest or whatever, but no. Hollow Knight just came out, they've been supporting it this whole time, and now they're working on a sequel. So like I said, I'm a bit disappointed that a sequel's already coming out when I haven't even had a chance to play the first game, but I mean, at least for whenever I have a chance, I have 2 good games from this studio to look forward to. So I don't know if you guys have ever played Hollow Knight and you enjoyed it. Hopefully you're looking forward to this, because I don't think there's a release date quite yet, but they are working on it. So there you go. Look forward to it. Moving on to the last video game news story. This next story is quite an interesting one because right now it's still just a rumor, but if the rumor proves to be true, like that'll be crazy. As the article states, apparently there's a rumor that Scalebound lives on as a Nintendo Switch exclusive. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Platinum Games, the ones who made like Nier Automata, Bayonetta, Wonderful 101, whole bunch of games. A few years back, they were working with Microsoft to make a game called Scalebound. And they showed a bit of footage here and there. I remember there was a year at E3 where they showed like, you know, a little bit of gameplay that people were like pretty impressed with. And basically what Scalebound is supposed to be, I'm not really sure of the genre, but I mean, knowing them, it's probably like a hack and slash sort of thing. But it's supposed to be a game where you run around as this guy with headphones that looks like Nero from Devil May Cry. He looks a little bit like Nero, and he has some headphones. And apparently, you know, he fights aided by like this dragon companion. And I guess you like run around maps and you fight all sorts of like, huge creatures. Like I think that's one of the things they were boasting, that they're gonna have like some of like the biggest boss fights ever, which is saying a lot because in Bayonetta, for instance, which is also by Platinum, you fight like huge monsters. So for them to say that this is like some of like the biggest bosses ever, I mean, that's a pretty big statement. And anyway, they were working on this game. They were developing it for Microsoft, and it was supposed to be a Microsoft, Xbox One exclusive at some point. And this was a big deal for a lot of people, because, you know, Xbox One doesn't have a lot of exclusives, really. You know, while Nintendo has a bunch of, like, Mario games, and Sony has, like, God of War and Spider-Man and, you know, stuff like that, Xbox One doesn't really have any franchises that are exclusives. I mean, they have a few, like Gears of War and Forza, but not many, you know? And especially not anything new. And so a lot of people who own an Xbox One, or they don't own one, but just because they saw the game was really cool, like they're really excited to see this exclusive coming to Xbox One. And some point in development, I don't know what happened, but the game got canceled, and, you know, Platinum took a pretty big hit. It almost ran them out of business from what I remember reading. And it wasn't until they made Nier Automata and that sold really well that they really like recovered. Like that was like a big turning point for them. And, you know, since then, they're working on Bayonetta 3 for Switch. They're working on Astral Chain, also for Switch. And Platinum has a pretty good relationship with Nintendo. And not only that, but now Microsoft seems to also have a pretty good relationship with Nintendo. Like, they've worked a lot on, like, cross-platform stuff. And I don't know, it seems like there's some pretty good communication with them. So, as I said, right now it is a rumor. But, I mean, compared to a few years ago, people are wondering if this rumor could be true. Because while it's still pretty far-fetched that, you know, a game that was an Xbox exclusive would somehow get transferred over to Switch, I mean, like, how would the whole IP thing work? People aren't sure. But it does sound more possible than it did a few years ago. Because, like I said, there's that relationship between Platinum and Nintendo, and between Microsoft and Nintendo. And of course, it'll remain to be seen. As I've said, right now it's just a rumor. There's not really any hard evidence at all. But that would be really cool, you know, if they really were able to just resurrect this game. That'd be awesome. Like, just seeing a game come back from the dead, and a game that a lot of people were hoping would get a second chance, like, that'd be awesome. Honestly, I hope it's true. I think it'd be awesome. I love games by Platinum. Like, the more games by Platinum I can get, the better. I love their stuff. But I don't know. Like I said, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. The rumor could just be really baseless and not end up happening. But that's the thing. If this isn't the game that was reported, it was coming back from the dead, then what is it? You know? Because even if this game isn't it, there's something that's getting revived apparently by Nintendo. So I don't know. Just interesting story all around. And, you know, definitely something to keep an eye out for. So there you go. Moving on to movie news. This article, when I read it, I just kind of felt bad, but at the same time, I thought it was really funny. So basically, as the title states, Fantastic Four director wants to erase the 2015 movie. So I don't know how many of you know. I mean, I would think everybody knows at this point. But in 2015, Josh Trank, who was the director of a little film called Chronicle, I mean, I guess people saw that he did such a good job making a little indie film like Chronicle, which, you know, had like superhero vibes to it. I guess they thought he did a really good job. And so they had him direct the Fantastic Four reboot. And unfortunately, whether it's because he's incompetent or because, as he states, you know, the studio just kept meddling, Fantastic Four, you know, the reboot from 2015 was a huge mess. Like, a lot of people consider that to be the worst film that year. Like, I don't know. I've tried to repress the memories of that film, but I can just say it was terrible. Like, there's so many decisions that made no sense. It was terrible. It was a terrible movie, right? And, you know, while fans have been more than vocal about how much they hated the film, so has the director. I mean, as it says in the article, he previously redacted the movie from his Instagram page, leaving only a line of asterisks in place of the original name. So, I mean, he hated it so much that, you know, he's tried to wash his hands of it and basically disown it. And so, as the article states, so that was a Kickstarter started by people because they wanted to erase a rat from the end of The Departed. I didn't read that article. I'm not sure why they wanted to erase the rat, but for whatever reason, you know, they were trying to erase it. And Josh Trank commented that it was the filmmaker's choice, so that's gonna be in it. And then someone said, like, okay, I mean, if you had the chance, would you fund a GoFundMe to erase Fantastic Four? And he said gladly. I mean, I find it kind of ironic that he's saying you can't erase like this part of this other movie because that was the filmmaker's choice and it's there forever. But he's saying he would erase this movie, which obviously that was people's choice. So that's kind of around forever too. I mean, I don't know. Seems kind of hypocritical, but regardless, he basically just said that, yeah, if he had a choice, he would erase that movie. He would just destroy it, pretend it never happened. And like I said, I mean, it made me feel kind of bad because obviously people worked hard on this movie, not just like the actors, but like script writers, editors, all that sort of thing. So it does really suck to see your work, you know, get stepped on so much. But I don't know, at the same time, I get it. The movie was really bad and it makes sense that a lot of people really do wish it just never existed. So I don't know. Moving on, this next news story is one that I don't even know where to start. Like, it's just so weird. I'm just trying to picture it. I can't visualize it. But according to this article, Chris Hemsworth is set to star in a Hulk Hogan biopic for Netflix. So I don't know how it's going to work. I honestly can't even imagine it. I mean, Hulk Hogan is like a cartoon character, man. Like, I don't know. I mean, the silly handlebar mustache, the creepy leather body, the voice. Like, I can't even imagine Chris Hemsworth acting as this guy, all right? Like, Hulk Hogan has looked like he's 70 years old for like the last like 30 or 40 years, all right? And Chris Hemsworth, on the other hand, he's a pretty good looking guy, you know? And not only that, but Hogan just has this weird way of talking, you know, like when he's like, oh my God, I'm just trying to remember stupid stuff he said in the past. Like when he's like, you know, I can't even mimic him, but you get what I mean. He just has so much weird quotes out there. And the man's like he's a caricature. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I can't imagine Chris Hemsworth acting as him. And it's especially weird because Chris Hemsworth has like a really heavy accent, you know? I mean, I'm pretty sure he's a professional. He can probably like speak without the accent. But I'm so used to hearing him like as Thor with the accent that I can't imagine him speaking like Hulk Hogan. You know, it just sounds so weird. Like, I don't know. It just blows my mind. It sounds super awkward. But regardless, whether I find it awkward or not, no matter how much of a giggle it gives me, as the article states, for whatever reason, yeah, they're making a biopic. And it's going to come out on Netflix. And let's see what else. It's going to be produced by Bradley Cooper, which that's a weird detail. And yeah, for whatever reason, Chris Hemsworth is going to come out as Hulk Hogan. I don't know, man. I don't know if that'll be good. I don't know if it'll be bad. Honestly, I hope that it's one of those things where it's so bad it's good. Like, I hope his performance is just like the silliest thing ever. But I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Maybe he'll actually embody the role better than I imagine. But yeah, keep an eye out for that, guys. Chris Hemsworth as Hulk Hogan. Let's see here. Moving on. Apparently, there is an animated Paddington TV show in the works, and Ben Whishaw, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name, but Ben Whishaw, who did the voice of Paddington in the movies, he's set to return. So, if you read this article, it says that basically the show is going to be a 3D animated TV series for Nickelodeon. The main voice actor, he's supposed to reprise his role. And it doesn't really say too much. It just talks about the movies. It talks about how, it's supposed to come out in 2020. And there's like a little image where it shows Paddington. I mean, it looks cute, I guess. The weird part is that it says it's supposed to follow the adventures of a younger Paddington. I mean, not really sure why. I mean, I guess I get why, because they're trying to probably aim it at like a younger audience. But it still seems kind of weird, like, why age him down? Doesn't that kind of mess with like the canon stuff? But whatever. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't. Who knows? But yeah, it's definitely being made. So look forward to that, I guess. I don't know. I don't really know what to think, because the Paddington movies have been surprisingly really good. Like when you first hear about them, you think they're going to be kind of like, it's another talking animal movie, whatever. But they're surprisingly really well put together. They're really fun. So will this translate into like a animated TV series? I don't know. I don't think so. Honestly, I think it'll be pretty mediocre. It'll probably just be like good enough for the audience it's aimed at, but remains to be seen, I guess. For all I know, it could be an instant classic. But yeah, like I said, should be hitting in 2020 on Nickelodeon. So I don't know. If you have Nickelodeon wherever you're at, I guess keep an eye out for it, so. Alrighty, moving on to some anime news. I have two anime stories I wanted to talk about. The first one is one that I actually missed. It happened more than a week ago, but I wanted to bring it up because I can't believe I missed this. But apparently, Kobayashi-san Maid Dragon has received a second season. So Kobayashi-san Maid Dragon, also known as Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. For anyone who doesn't know, it's a little series about this lady, salary lady named Kobayashi. And basically one day she gets drunk, wanders into the woods, and she meets a dragon. And I don't remember exactly, it's been a while, but I think she helps like take something out. I think that the dragon had like a knife in its like foot or something. And she basically helps the dragon, and the dragon like kind of falls in love with her because the dragon's like really impressed with like her kindness and like that sort of thing. And so the dragon shows up at her house, and the dragon's like, I want to be your maid, you're my master. And from there, this lady's life gets turned upside down because she has this dragon maid who's like in love with her. And soon like other dragons start showing up and integrating themselves into society. So, she's always dealing with like the weird dragons and all sorts of issues that come from them and stuff. And I know there's like a little like, it looks like a little girl, one of the dragons. Basically, she adopts her as like her daughter and like is taking care of her, but it's a pretty cute show. It's pretty funny. The characters are interesting. The interactions are really funny. And overall, wouldn't say it's like the best show ever, but it is a pretty fun show. It's comedy and it's light, And yeah, I mean, a lot of people had been hoping that there would be more because of how the manga has continued. And sure enough, it's going to get a second season. I'm trying to see if I can look for a release date. Doesn't seem to have information yet. Yeah, don't see any information, but it definitely is in the works. So for anyone who was hoping for a second season, there you go. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is getting a second season to be announced. And if you haven't heard of this show before, I do recommend it. Like I said, it's not the best show ever, but it is like a fun, easy watch at only 12 episodes. So, check it out. This might be the good time to get caught up before the second season hits, so. Finally, the last news story that I want to talk about is that Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2, the anime is set to premiere on April 28th, and there's like a little trailer, The trailer doesn't show too much. It's basically just like a preview that basically just talks about the date. Not too much happens. But for anyone who's been watching and following Attack on Titan, I know a lot of people have been wondering when the second part of Season 3 would be coming out. And like I said, April 28th. The weird part, though, is that I know that Crunchyroll had been showing all of the seasons of Attack on Titan up to now. And the weird part is that if you do read the article, it says that it's going to stream on Funimation now, but it doesn't mention anything about Crunchyroll. If anyone remembers, I want to say towards the beginning of this podcast, when I first started it, I covered a story about Crunchyroll and Funimation breaking up. Basically, they had a pretty good partnership where they would share licenses of different shows. And so Crunchyroll would show the original version, and then Funimation would be showing the English dub. And I know because of their relationship ending, I know that, there's licenses that I guess belong to either one or the other now. And so I do find it kind of interesting that I don't see Crunchyroll mentioned. So I don't know if the season isn't going to be on Crunchyroll. If you read the comments, some people are saying that because it's still technically season 3, Crunchyroll should still have the license. And so this would be the last few episodes they show, and if there's a season 4, then they wouldn't be able to show it. But other people are saying that if it wasn't mentioned, then maybe not. Maybe Funimation now is taking over. So I don't know. That is one of those things where I really do wonder. But as I said, regardless, season 3 part 2 is coming. If you've enjoyed these series, then there you go. That's coming in a couple months, not too far away. Personally, I actually don't even remember if I caught up, honestly, because I know there was so many anime going on when season 3 was happening. I don't remember if I actually am caught up. I would have to check that out. But, Attack on Titan isn't as big as it was when it first came out. I know some of the hype has, died down since then, but overall, I would still say it's a pretty good series. I still say it does some interesting stuff, and same as Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. If this is an anime that you haven't checked out up to now for whatever reason, then I think right now is a good time to catch up before new episodes come out. So there you go. Check it out, guys. Alrighty, and with that being said, that brings us to the end of another news week. So, as always, hopefully you guys found something informative, entertaining. Hopefully you guys learned something new. And unfortunately, this would be the part where I transfer over to the content creator spotlight. But it wasn't until I really sat down and was looking through my notes that I noticed that I don't have a content creator for this week. I could try and look for somebody, but it just wouldn't feel genuine because usually I plan it out. I look at, someone's content and I have a lot, I have a little speech ready to say. And unfortunately this week I just forgot. I don't know how that, happened. But I guess what I would say for this week's content creator spotlight, anyone I've mentioned up to now, if you haven't checked any of these people out, please check them out. All of these guys are my friends. All of them, I think they do excellent work. Honestly, I would say a lot of them do work better than mine. I think they deserve way much more credit than I do. But regardless, since this week I don't have anybody new, I would just say check them out, guys. They are really great content creators. And even if you're not sure if you like their stuff, just give it a chance. Maybe you'll discover a new channel that you didn't think you'd be into, But looking through all these channels, thinking about how they've supported me, thinking of all the hard work they do, just give them a chance, guys. Check out their stuff, leave them a nice comment, a like, subscribe if you feel it necessary. But yeah, for this week's content creator spotlight, just check out people I've talked about before, and show them some love. Alrighty, with that being said, that brings us to the end of another podcast. That is one more in the bag, and honestly, I feel like this podcast was very sloppy. I don't know, like I said, I've just been all over the place because of work. I've been swamped, haven't had a chance to really sit down and just do stuff, you know? Don't worry, I mean, it's not slave labor, you know, like work is fine, even though they're, you know, have some stuff to catch up on. But yeah, hopefully within like the next week or two, I have a chance to like just slow down, because I definitely feel like this podcast felt very rushed. You know, I do apologize, you know, if the content wasn't up to its usual quality, but I don't know, maybe you guys enjoyed it. Maybe there's something here that you guys liked, but next week, I'll definitely try better. And yeah, I mean, I have some work to get back to. So until next time, guys, my name is Wannabe Reviewer, and I'll catch you guys later.
Same OG, but I've been low-key, hated on by most these niggas with no cheese, no deals and no G's, no wheels and no keys, no boats, no snowmobiles and no skis. Mad at me cause I can finally afford to provide my family with groceries. Got a crib with a studio and it's all full of tracks, to add to the wall full of plaques, hanging up in the office and back of my house like trophies. Did y'all think I'ma let my dough freeze? Hold please, you better bow down on both knees. Who you think taught you to smoke trees? Who you think brought you to ODs, Easy E's, Ice Cubes and DOCs, the Snoop D-O-double-G's, and a group that said motherfuck the police. Gave you a tape for the dope beats, the bomb will stroll through in your hood. And when your album sales wasn't doing too good, who's the doc that he told you to go see? Y'all better listen up closely. All you niggas that said that I turn pop or the firm flop, y'all are the reason that Trey ain't been getting no sleep. So fuck y'all, all of y'all. If y'all don't like me, blow me. Y'all are gonna keep fucking around with me and turn me back to the old me.
Nowadays everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish and motherfuckers act like they forgot about Dre. Nowadays everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish and motherfuckers act like they forgot about Dre. So what do you say to somebody you hate? What? Or anyone trying to bring trouble your way? One of his off things in the put your way. Just study your tape of NWA. One day I was walking by with a Walkman on when I caught a guy, give me an awkward eye. She looked strangled him up in the parking lot with his cock and eye. I don't give a fuck if it's dark or not. I'm harder than me trying to park a Dodge, but I'm drunk as fuck. Right next to a humongous truck in a two-car garage. Hopping out with two broken legs trying to walk it off. Fuck you too, bitch, call the cops. I'ma kill you and them loud-ass motherfucking barking dog. And when the cops came through, me and Dre stood next to a burnt-down house with a can full of gas and a handful of matches, and still weren't found out. Right here, so from here on out, it's the chronic 2. Starting the day, and tomorrow's the new. And I'm still local enough to choke you to death with a Charleston choke. Sam Shady, hotter than a set of twin babies. And a Mercedes Benz with the windows up when the tip goes up to the mid-80s. Calling men ladies. Sorry, Doc, but I've been crazy. There's no way that you can save me. It's okay, go with him, Haley. Nowadays, everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish and motherfuckers act like they forgot about Dre. Nowadays, everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish and motherfuckers act like they forgot about Dre. Motherfuckers act like they forgot about Dre.
It's up to me, you motherfuckers stop coming up to me with your hands out, looking up to me like you want something free. When my last CD was out, you wasn't bumping me, but now that I got no company, everybody wanna come to me like it was some disease, but you won't get a crumb from me, cause I'm from the streets of all the little gangsters, who you think helped mold them all? Now you wanna run around talking about guns like I ain't got none. What you think I sold them all? Cause I stay well off. Now all I get is hate mail all day saying Dre fell off. What? Cause I've been in the lab with a pen in the pad trying to get this damn label off. I ain't having that. This is the millennium of aftermath, and it's gonna be nothing after that. So give me one more platinum plaque and fuck rap, you can have it back. So where's all the mad rappers at? It's like a jungle in this habitat, with all you savage cats know that I was strapped with gas when you were cuddling a cabbage patch.
Nowadays everybody wanna talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out